Can I tell you the story about when Jesus visited me? I'm going to. Okay, it just popped into my mind just now about how when I tell this story to some people, they want to give me their interpretation of my experience, which cracks me up. And I don't know how to say this without sound. I want to say this and want people to take this in a way that they understand I'm not meaning anything bad against you or certain religions. It's just that this was my experience, and if people are open to understand that they can learn from my experience and understand that some of the teachings that are being taught, if someone's open for it, can understand that there's more to know. Not just what was taught thousands of years ago, or what happened thousands of years ago, or what possibly happened thousands of years ago. So I want to tell you the story, and this is my truth. This is what happened. This is what I experienced. And the other day, I was getting a pedicure, and I was talking to a really nice lady that was next to me in the chair. And I told her that Jesus visited me. Like, Jesus came to me. Like, he, just from one moment to the next, I felt his presence. And I knew it was him immediately. And I also felt like a female presence. So she said to me, when Jesus comes to you, it's because, there's something that's needed, that I need something. And I'm telling you, that's not why he came to be with me. I wasn't needing something. There was nothing wrong in my life. I didn't call on him. What I was doing was sitting still and meditating. And at that time in my life, it was my beginnings of meditation. And I was meditating for learning what my abilities were. I decided that I was going to use meditation as a way to understand like what all my inner senses were. And I had learned a technique of how to connect to your spirit guide, to your spirit guides, guide or guides. And I was meditating for self-realization. So I would sit still, quiet my mind, and other time, or the first time I meditated actually, and I talk about this in another of my videos, it was to connect to a spirit guide. I had no idea what I was doing, but I learned the steps of what to do. And within 30 seconds of doing some breathing and slowing myself down and relaxing my body and then doing this visualization, I saw in my mind's eye like a movie strip play out, and I saw walk in front of me a bear, a buck, and a deer. Basically a bear, a buck, and a doe walked in front of me, one right after the other. And then I heard a man's voice, like inside my head, like as if I had a microphone in the center of my head. A man's voice said the word guarded. And then I was like, whoa. And then I kind of came out of my meditation zone. So I was doing this at the house I lived in, and I was living in Southern California at the time, and I was 37. So this was in 2007, and I was in my room, and all of a sudden, from one moment to the next, I felt Jesus be in my presence. And not only that, but a female presence. And then there was this experience where I knew who he was in that moment, like who he was, what kind of person he was, what he experienced, meaning what it was like for him. And so it was like I suddenly felt this being in love feeling for Jesus. And I immediately had to go to like a metaphysical store or some sort of store to find a picture of him. And I found a laminated kind of postcard of Jesus. And he was kind of like kneeling down a little bit. And there was an angel behind him with her hand on his shoulder. And there was something so profound in this picture of him. I would just stare at him like in love with this man from one moment to the next. And I have learned that where your vibration is, then you can attract to you equal vibration within the same realm of vibration. So my vibration and Jesus's vibration are in the same realm. It wasn't because I was needing something. I was not in a dark place in my life. I didn't need something. I wasn't in the doom and gloom. I wasn't in addiction or at a bottom in my life. That is not what was going on at all. I was enjoying myself. I was living in Southern California, dog training, working out, going to the beach with my dog, going to all the dog-friendly places, doing all sorts of fun things. So I just wanted to share this, that I have a person right now who is not talking to me, or she is, well, okay, so she's not talking to me because of what I'm going to say, but I think it started why she's not talking to me, is she wanted to tell me that she feels Jesus. Like, she was telling me her experience with feeling Jesus. And I said, oh, I have my own experience with that. And then I was telling her my experience, and she didn't believe it, which is really strange to me. So it's like, you're allowed to have experience with Jesus, but I'm not, for some reason, because you think that you're a Christian and you don't think I'm a Christian. And so since I'm not a Christian, then I can't possibly have my experience with Jesus. And so it like threatens certain people's beliefs or things they've been taught. Like, this is the only way. You can only go down this path, and you can only make a left and a right, and that's how you're going to get there. And I'm here to say that is not the case. And I have been further learning about Jesus. I am taught things from him, and I pass along the information. And so it was very profound, okay, that moment, from one moment to the next. And so I grew up in an area of in the town of Saratoga, California, and the area that I grew up in was very Catholic and Jewish neighbors and people, my friends. I had a best friend that was Jewish, and I had a best friend that was Catholic. And then there was this parking lot with a temple on one side of the parking lot, and then the Catholic church was on the other side of the parking lot, not far from where I grew up. So my sports friends, people I went to school with, so I was very much around those two religions, but they were never they never forced anything on me. They were very kind and accepting and loving and inclusive. So that was what I grew up with. I was the non-religious wild child, but knew from a young age that I was very spiritual, and that I was having these really profound spiritual experiences since I was very little. My first memory of an experience that I knew that I was seeing something like on the astral plane, or not with the or I was seeing it with my eyes, but I was seeing something that was sort of like on the astral plane. That's the only way I can I can explain it at this moment. I'll tell that story another time. But so I used to joke. I remember when I first started joking about this. And this is not, I'm not wanting to be offensive. I'm just saying, this was my experience. I used to joke and say, what is the big deal with this, about this Jesus guy? And so, I'm not saying that now. I'm saying, oh, this is what's the big deal about this Jesus guy. I'm just saying that from one moment to the next, he came to be in my presence, and so did this female presence. And I don't know if it was Mother Mary. Maybe it was Mother Mary, or maybe it was Mary Magdalene. I just know that there was this, I feel like it could be one or the other, or maybe both of them were there. I'm not sure, because when I think about it, when I remember sort of the feeling about it, it was a very nice feeling there. Both of them had a really nice feeling, but the female presence was a little bit, his presence stood out for me, because I think maybe he wanted to teach me some stuff about him, because I have dealt with hostility from people and mean people in my life, that I had to learn a lot of things. There's a lot of people now teaching about narcissistic people and toxic people, toxic family members, and all that stuff. I've dealt with housemates and coworkers and friends and all sorts of family, when I dealt with this. So I feel like he was letting me know that he had to deal with that too, which, we know what happened to him, but I'm talking about just when he was going about in his life and teaching what he was teaching, that he had to deal with the people who they don't like what you have to say. They don't like, the people who don't like what you have to say. But obviously there was a lot of people that did like what he had to say. And he went and taught people how to be good to yourself and to others. And that's what he was teaching. He was a good man. And he went to school and learned a lot of really cool stuff. And he learned a lot of energy healing work, and said that we can learn what he has learned and learn how to do even more things. You know why? Because the world has continued to evolve. right? We're not still we're not still in horse and buggy days, we're not living in caves. I mean, do you know what I'm saying? Like, life has continued to evolve. The world has evolved. We can learn more things. There's more to know. There's more to learn. And and there's stuff that is false stuff. That particular, the Bible is not the only thing to learn from. That doesn't make any sense. I mean, you have to use common sense with this stuff. So anyways, I just wanted to share that you can have an experience or have a relationship with Jesus without having to hit some sort of bottom. And it's truly real. He truly came and visited me and was with me. And I have another video where I talk about when I was little, archangels came to me in my room when I was about 6 or 7, and then maybe more than once, because I have a memory of at a time in my life where my bed was and the way my room was arranged when I was a certain age. But I also have memory of at another age. So anyways, totally going off on a tangent, but yeah, I wanted to share that I just wanted to I'm speaking my truth, because there are other religions that they want to really, really speak their truth and make it seem like that's it. Like, what they think and what they know is it, and that everyone else should be thinking what they think. And I have to just say that there seems to be there's more to know. That for me, because of who I am and my experiences throughout my life, that there's kind of a learning that you get to step back farther and higher and see, like, up above the forest and way past the trees. And there's more to learn and more to know. And it's, so anyways, that's what I wanted to share. My staring at this laminated picture of Jesus, and just all of a sudden being in love with this man, like getting to feel him, like, be like he was a man, so getting to have this really great experience of him representing man and teaching some really good stuff about being good to yourself and being good to others. So anyways, I'm rambling, but so thank you for listening, and so enjoy your day, and I will be back soon. Bye.